Hello.
So on the Gregorian date of the 6th of March, 2023, which is one of our four cycles counting out the Omega, and we have got them on record in the in the Supreme Court, defining and reviewing how is it possible that we've got somebody in this country who was being applied, an extradition order being applied for them, and they were unable to be present, therefore, their trial in the country where the court cases allegedly have taken place. And because the individual wasn't served notice of proceedings because they didn't know where they were, allegedly. Now, if you know where they are in order for them to be able to serve a notice of extradition, you'd think that they'd know where they were in order for them to serve proceedings. But let's say that that individual couldn't, for some other kind of reasons, which is not having the right travel documents, be able to go back to the place where they're saying there's another, and to be able to attend the court. They were discovering is and determining is that obviously they would deny the country that was seeking the extradition order because they are looking, if you listen to the recording, they're looking at boxes that haven't been ticked. Right? So these boxes that haven't been ticked, there's no tick in the box for first and foremost what they're looking for, certificate service. So if everybody realizes that what the return sender obviously is, you're saying I'm not accepting litigation of any kind, and you're not sending me with your litigation at this address. Any trust address you can't sell the litigation at a trust address. So in order for them to be able to tick that initial box, most important box, they have to obviously get the name right first. Which is obviously out the window for anybody who's in from then, and then the address, but obviously his address then inside the trust, which doesn't accept litigation. So when you think about being His Majesty's service, so we are not being serviced by His Majesty's Royal Mail penetration of his blade articles through our post office. To our post box, to our hatch, through the hole in the door. So, because they're not able to kick that box, then any court case and any proceedings are invalid, which again will be invalidated sending to the gate. Because the case then is he's exercising his right. So, but you can't exercise your right to a retrial, apparently, because they're in the middle of all of that litigation. And definition is the word request A. And so, where they added to the administration of the law in this particular instance is that you have the right to request a retrial. So that's been obliterated and removed out of such terminology because it had been obscuring your right to have a retrial because you only had a right to request one instead. And that obviously affected everybody's rights. Because then you could say, well, I'm requesting one, they could say, doggone, who are you? And they can't do that anymore. So that was a good result for the restoration right that I thought I wanted to let you know about. And then there was another one which came out about why could we not prosecute people for misconduct in public office? Because they'd come out opening and admitted that we were not working in a public office, we were working for a private corporation, and our employer told us to do it, so we had to use the Employment Act on them and ask where is the proof of claim that we have all agreed and consented to be employees of Crown Corporation, which we haven't, obviously. So, there were 5 nice things for me to share with you. Well, I thought I would bring you up and give you today.
Yeah.
How do you like that?
Yeah.
For an encore.
Huh?
How do you like that for an encore? Pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then we've got we're talking about Alpha and Omega, where these timelines are spiraling together. Because this particular account won't get back in its box and shut the F up, it means that the initiation of everything that once presumed through that implied timeline bond cycle, from the date that it was created and then a year after that. So the financial year is all beginning in advance. So they make the projection and do their gambling based on what it is that they've got to be gambling with. And then can you imagine if one of those things that you've been gambling with for, let's say, half a century in that time, suddenly turned out that everything everything that you thought you had the right you gambled with turned out that there wasn't a valid contract. It would go all the way back to the point of the initiation of the contract, wouldn't it? In one cycle. And in another cycle, it would go all the way back to the point where such a cycle, such a contract, or such a presumption of presuming that a contract was presumed, that would go all the way back then on that cycle to whatever point that would, but go all the way back to 1666 with the Cesca Act. Then when you find out that the certificate that you've been trying to use is valid, you then go all the way back, and when you're reviewing how it's possible that such thing could be hypothesized in the first place, up to the Cesca Act, to hypothesize that. Oh, well, and so some guy come out of the woodwork today. Some guy. Yeah, the guy with claiming the title of IEA chief, International Energy Agency, Fatty Birol, all Fatty.
No, like connected to the Department of Energy.
Yeah, for the world. And so he come out and said that at this point in time, it's saying the energy crisis caused as an equivalent to, at the moment, the Iran war energy crisis equals the 70s twin oil shock through 2 twin oil shocks, 5 million barrels of oil a day between 1973 and the 1979 incident prevented 9 million barrels of oil hitting the market, and that's why people are on blackout and shopping by candlelight. And at the same time, coupled with that, the paragraph that these 2 oil crises and the invasion of 2022 Russian Ukraine cover story have now kind of collided all together and compounded into this one big thing, which is resulting in what we're seeing at the moment in this alleged Iran crisis, because all that time ago, they've not been able to indemnify everything that they have hypothesized over that period of time. So every line that they're in the sand and said that the peace treaty had gone, Turkey is trying to invade the Greek islands because the treaty of Louisiana being expired, but obviously given the document just already there, for anybody or especially people want to pick it up and say, well, hang on a minute, there is an agreement that's already in play protecting Elas and the rock. and it's done through autonomy. With the Universal Law Constitution, which is being implemented in various ways all over the world. So, it's all in the media all the way back 1066, because now they've got to prove their claim. Crown Corporation, whether they are still running around being, because the logo Crown Corporation being used by bad actors still, implying that they've got the right to rent out land that's already been removed from being able to be used for HF2. But they think that they can, the agent who did work for HF2, can rent out the right people that people have got from assets that they've had taken off them unlawfully. And you can go over there, we'll kick you out of this dwelling, for example, but you can go down the road and give us a legal fiction title, create a contract where you didn't have one before, and force you into contract, and you can then rent your right back off people who kicked you out of them. There's still a little bit of psychosis going in that you're finding out. You're forcing them to be unable to discharge these charges, which we just got the guy who's running around pretending to be king on the stand and ask some questions about big pedophile and whatever, and then if we don't need the oil or the gas if we need energy, and I think we're just all watching that, really. We're just all watching the Restoration of Rights Part 2 now. That would be a version, grad alcohol, and spend it, and that's really using those words now. Press and pause, so I want to press pause on this legislation and that legislation. Because